Are from one of our great sponsors of high school sports on JTV, County National Bank, and presenters of the Green Room, the new CEO of County National Bank, Joe Williams, along with Tony Baker, Vice President, and Bob Rozak, Assistant Vice President. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Welcome. Thanks, Bart.
Yeah, welcome back to Tony and Bob, frequent guests. But Joe, your first time here. Welcome.
First time here. You've made me feel comfortable. Love being in downtown Jackson, and just appreciate the opportunity to be with you and the crew today, Bart.
Great. Well, congratulations on being appointed the new president and CEO of CNB. I was reading about the process that the bank and the board went through in selecting you, but you also had to make a decision too. What was it about CNB that got your interest?
Well, I'm a big believer in community banks. I think when you look at strong communities, the first thing that you see is a community bank, and local people, local decision making, and investing in their time and talent and money back into the community. Craig Connor, the chairman of the board, Craig and I go back to working together back in the late 80s. So I've known Craig for a long time. We kind of parted ways. He came over to County National Bank, and I went through 4 or 5 different mergers in my career. But when I left Old National Bank back in 2020, Craig picked up the phone and called me and said, hey, we've really never had a banker or anybody with banking background on our board, and I think you'd add value. Would you consider joining our board of directors? And I thought about it and thought it'd be a lot of fun. I could stay in the banking world, but from a 10,000-foot view versus being in the day-to-day operations. And actually, it's been wonderful. County National Bank, they've been in existence for 88 years. And when I look at the executive management team there, the thing I like most about what I see is that their values, the organization's values, the management committee's values align with my personal values. So it really feels like it's a good fit.
Great. And Bob and Tony, with change in management, brought a lot of questions to the staff, but also the community. So what's been the response at the bank with this announcement?
You know, it's been very positive. You know, Joe is no stranger to the organization, so he's familiar with, you know, our culture and maybe some ways that we might be able to improve upon that. But I think with, you know, what he brings to the table with his passion for community and his values, we will continue to be successful and probably more so than what we were. We really see a lot of good things, and the employees are very receptive. And I just can't say enough good things about, you know, as I've gotten to know Joe better in the last few weeks, just the number of good things that I can say about him and what he brings to the table. I think is just really going to be good things for us for the long haul.
Bob, are you going to lose your double-sized office and 16-inch flat screen?
You're thinking of Tony. It's a much smaller TV. But, you know, and just getting to know Joe over the last couple of days, we had a training day on Monday where he introduced himself to all the employees, and the positivity and the energy that he brought that day was resounding throughout our entire organization. So everybody's excited. I'm personally excited. I think he'll do a great job. He'll be a great leader. I mean, we're a $1 billion bank, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do leading us into the growth of the future.
Well, Joe, you mentioned you've had 40 years in the industry. Tell us a little bit about your background and your family and your interests.
Yeah, sure. Born and raised in Adrian, Michigan. Been there my whole life. Been in banking. Actually, I joined banking my junior year in high school at Sand Creek High School. Advisor stopped me in the hall one day and said, hey, Joe, we've got an opportunity for a co-op position. Would you be interested in that? And I'm like, sure. You know, always looking for a way to earn money, being a junior in high school. I went over and interviewed at Bank Lenawee, and they hired me on the spot. So my junior and senior year, I actually worked co-op. So I went to the bank and worked in the morning and went to school in the afternoon so I could play sports. So that's really how I got into banking. My senior year, 2 weeks before I graduated from high school, I actually was going to go into the Marines. I'd met with the Marine Corps and passed all the physical tests and everything. And 2 weeks before I graduated, my boss at Bank Lenawee came to me and said, Joe, we're going to buy our own computer system because they outsourced all their work. We need somebody to work at night processing all our work. How would you be interested in staying on, and we'll help you go to college? And so that's how I stayed in banking. I started going to Siena Heights University, And so that's how I've progressed up in the banking world. My lovely wife, Paula, I'm married to Paula. We've been married 35 years. We started dating back at Sand Creek High School when I was a junior and she was a sophomore. And we've got 3 lovely daughters. Lindsay's a nurse out in San Diego, does not like Michigan winters, but doing great out there. My middle daughter, Chelsea, she's a nurse up at St. Joe Hospital. And then my youngest daughter, Brooke, is married, and she's a social worker over at Saline Public Schools.
Great.
So really, really good. I tell you, one of the things that I'm most proud of is just community. Early on in my banking career, all of my mentors and my coaches really impressed and embellished that, Joe, we as a community bank, we've got to give back to the community and show that we care about our community. So community's been really important to me. Balance is important too, family, work, and community. But at the end of the day, I get up every day and tell myself it's not about me. And so if it's not about me, that means it's going to be about somebody that maybe God puts in front of me that day that I have to lift up and serve and help them in some way. That's really what gets me fired up every day. And I think as we look at the future for County National Bank, like I said, great organization, been around for 88 years, great leadership team. I'm not going to get in their way. That's the most important thing for Bobby and Tony to know, that I'm not going to get in their way, but I'm going to be behind them, being their biggest cheerleader, supporting them. And again, our values align. And boy, when an organization and employees' values align, we can tackle anything. And that's really what excites me the most about being part of County National Bank. We just get to make that come more alive in all the communities that we serve.
Well, one of the visible examples of your community involvement is here at JTV, where you are a big sponsor of our programming, and our high school sports is an example, and the County National Bank Green Room, where we have the luxurious County National Bank Green Room, where our next guests are waiting. So thanks so much for that.
You betcha.
No, I think that's one of the things that this community, saying you want to be a community bank and our community bank, and doing what it takes to be recognized as that, is evident, I think, in 2 periods of recent history. One is 2008, where we had businesses and individuals who were turned down by their national banks that really needed help, and they got what they needed from County National Bank. And then something you both have been through and very involved in is the pandemic and the PPP and the other EIDL and other loan and grant products, which you led the community by far in providing those services.
Yeah, coming most recently from a large regional bank, I understand what you're saying with the difficulties of getting things done and not having that true sense of community. I started out my career with Citibank and Trust almost 30 years ago, and getting back to the community bank culture and that sense of family and the passion that the bank has for helping those in the community and helping them getting through difficult times just doesn't exist in those larger banks.
Mm-hmm.
And we I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be back at a bank like CNB. It's something that makes it worth coming into work every day, and that excites me just like Joe as to, I think, the opportunities that lie ahead for us.
Bob, you spent a lot of time late nights working on PPP loans.
Absolutely. Well, going back to your point on 2008, I was also with County National Bank at that time, and as an organization, we decided, hey, what better way right now than to step up and help out our businesses in the community? What better way to give back than to, get these loans to these people that desperately need them, and that fueled our growth for the future. When the pandemic hit, kind of the same type of scenario. These businesses in our community needed help, they needed the funding, so we thought, hey, this worked before in 08 and 9, let's go back at it, let's get them the loans they need and see if we can't fuel another growth spurt for the bank, in which it did. So we did gain a lot of business from customers that were not with County National Bank at the time, and we also served our current customers with getting them the help that they needed.
And I think as we face a lot of uncertainty right now, we've got interest rates, where are they? Where are they going? What's happening with inflation? The concern, and I think what we had back in 2008, banks cut loose, long-standing, really rock solid companies.
Mhm.
And I guess having lived through that as a community, I guess it gives the community confidence that you're going to be able to weather whatever is ahead.
Well, in 2008, I became president and CEO of United Bank and Trust out of Tecumseh, Michigan in 2007, November. So that happened in November, then we know what happened in 2008. And you've got to be able to look at your client in the eye and say, we're here to help you. And the thing I get excited about County National Bank and the team, I see passion. The definition of passion every day is intense enthusiasm. So I see that when coworkers come into work every day. And we're all about purpose. Why does County National Bank exist? We exist to serve the needs of our community, our clients, and also create a great place for people to work. And you know what? When you take care of all three of those areas, we all win. And so that's really what I think County National Bank will continue to focus on. And whether we see rates continue to go up, we see a recession, if we can keep those three things at the forefront of all that we do and the decisions we make, we're going to win, and we're going to all weather the storm together.
Well, we felt as JTV is we're essentially your customer and you're our customer. It's a
Right.
real partnership.
Exactly.
And we appreciate that, and it's demonstrated in many ways. And one of the other ways is the community involvement at events and organizations that you are involved in. And I know you guys both told me that's going to continue with the new CEO.
I think that's what we do well. I mean, we do the community thing very well. We kind of put our money where our mouth is, but then we also go out and we do the actual work. I personally was just a chili cook-off judge, which was kind of fun. I've actually gotten an opportunity to do a few things this year that I have never done in the past. I shot that opening free throw at the Gus Macker and missed it a couple of times. Made it the third time.
Yeah.
But just being visible, being out there with your customers when we have these large events downtown, it's priceless, really.
One of the other chili judges, Andy Holly, had to spend the whole day Sunday on the couch. So
Was that from too much chili or too much beer?
maybe a little bit of both.
And I bet he was alone.
So we'll be seeing you at some of these events.
Yeah, like I've told the team here, I will be anywhere that you want me to. But again, Tony and Bobby and the team here in Jackson, they live in the market. They own, I want them to run the market like they own it. They're going to be completely empowered to take care of the community. But being part of the community is really important. Leadership in the community is really important. We want to step up and be a leader and be seen as a leader. Can we be a collaborator? Can we be a convener to maybe address large community issues? But I think every day, my favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes all the time is, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I think that really represents County National Bank and the entire team across our entire footprint is when you come into any office or you see a County National Bank associate anywhere, you know that we care. And that's what's most important to me.
I want to go back to Sand Creek. I'm curious, what were your sports as an athlete?
Sports, football, loved Friday Night Lights. I enjoyed Friday Night Lights the most. Played basketball, was point guard, got most of my recognition in basketball, but my favorite, my best sport was baseball.
Oh, I knew it was Bob.
Yeah,
I had
exactly.
heard that.
Sport.
Bob, that was Bob's big sport. He went to.
Oh, I know.
He went to
He's a
Adrian.
legend. He's
Yeah.
a legend in Adrian.
So there's a string.
Anywhere I
my own
go,
mind.
yeah, exactly. But no, sports play a big part of who I am. I always wanted to be the point guard and have the ball in my hands when it mattered most. I wanted to be the leadoff hitter. Wanted to run the punts and kicks back. Had great coaches around me, some great mentors. But sports have been a big part of my life, and I think it's helped grow me and teach me about leadership and what true leadership is. And I think true leadership is the ability to inspire. And that's what I want to do coming into County National Bank every day is inspire people to come back because they're inspired to come in the next day.
Well, we've got offices all over. There's been a lot of expansion this past year. I think a couple new branches, expansion of a branch. You relocated to larger corporate offices in downtown Jackson. What's ahead? What's on the horizon?
Well, right now I'm just getting my feet settled in. I'm going to be having a budget meeting tomorrow, actually with our CFO. Obviously, I think we've grown tremendously over the last 5 years as an organization. I think it'd be great to take a pause and make sure that our back room catches up with the front of the house. But at the end of the day, we want to be growing, and we want to be looking at communities that align with our values and that we see that we can come in and fulfill a need that they have. So we're always looking for opportunities. We want to be strategic with our opportunities. So we don't have anything strategically ready to move right now, but that's something that me and the executive team is going to be taking a look at and say, where do we need to be next, and how do we get there, and what can we do to support and serve that community?
Great to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
Joe, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, Bart, and appreciate all that you do and JTV does here in Jackson. It's a wonderful place, and it's great to walk around downtown Jackson.
Thanks so much. The new president and CEO at County National Bank, Joe Williams, along with Vice President Tony Baker and Assistant Vice President Bob Rozak. Well, in that